Hiya folks, Fruinagi here, and today I'm going to do something a little bit different. Going to be giving my thoughts on the series Rick and Morty. And to be honest, it's it's completely out of left field. I have not talked a whit about the show ever on my channel, and I don't intend to do like an episode by episode breakdown, a series overview, a season by season analysis, parallel, like, well, what about season 1, season 2, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no. The reason I'm making this video is, now that season 5 is being released episode by episode, as I've been watching them, I realized that compared to when the show first came out, it did a pretty good job of holding my attention, keeping me entertained, and just being something interesting to watch. Not to take too seriously, not to, holy crap, let's analyze this frame to see what sort of theories might be coming up, or what if Avengers might be coming in the future or anything. Nothing too crazy, but decent entertainment. And I would say throughout the first few seasons, probably first 3 seasons, there were highs and lows, but again, it kept my attention. And even with season 4 being probably a universal slow point for this show, most people were not super enthused by it. I think at best people say it's like, well, it picked up at some point, it was okay. A little bit weak for the show overall, but still, compared to a lot of other series, still did pretty good. And I'm not sure what other people think about season 5 so far, but as I'm watching these new episodes, I find myself incredibly bored and really turned off by the whole thing at this point. I just keep, as I watch the episode and I look at kind of the general premise of what's going to be going on, I think to myself, oh, really? That's what they decided to go with? And that felt kind of lackluster. And I just don't care. I have no interest. I'm completely apathetic. It's like, wow, what a snooze fest. What a dull episode. And I didn't understand that. I was like, what's so different about what's going on here with the current season of Rick and Morty, where I'm just, ugh. I mean, it's not night and day, is it? So as I was checking out the episodes, I didn't rewatch them. I didn't, start poring over every nuance and detail. I just hit the brakes and it's like, let me think about this. Let me get the brain juices flowing and just kind of kick things around. What to me, or what is it that would stand out, or what is it that seemingly would be different enough that I would stop finding the show interesting? And I have just a little theory. Kind of my own concept of why in the world it just isn't working anymore. And I think the simple issue is that there's not really any conflict anymore. And I guess what I mean by that is like an overarching conflict, or hints and allusions to potential, like, grit for the mill, if that makes sense. And I'll just start going into examples so you know what I mean. In the early seasons, there was a simple conflict between Rick and Morty's parents about Morty going out on these adventures. Morty being dragged out of school at the drop of a hat so Rick could have a companion to do all these wacky, crazy, unsafe antics. And again, it wasn't like nail-biting, like, oh my gosh, I'm the edge of my seat, conflict or tension, but there was some push and pull there. There was some conflict and animosity within the family. There was somewhat of a family dynamic issue there. And when you look at what's going on now, there's not any of that. Morty going on all these adventures, doesn't matter whatsoever. If he misses school, if he goes around killing a bunch of people, I mean, basically, like, it doesn't really matter. They don't care. Excuse me. Another simple conflict was Rick at one point in the earlier seasons was shown to have both a few allies, a few friends, at least a few allies or people he was willing to party with, like Scraunchy and all those other random fill-in characters. But then his one friend was Birdman, right? Bird person. Birdman is trademark and blah, 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 blah. Anyways, bird person. Then, of course, what happened was the whole conflict about the society, the intergalactic society that's like, hey, we don't want you traveling around. We're against freedom and free travel between planets. And so Rick and Bird Person and a handful of other people were part of the resistance. And then Bird Person dies. Rick destroys the entire society. It's a non-issue now. Now, nobody really cares if Rick travels interdimensionally, different planets, going through his portals to different realities. Nobody cares. The Society of Ricks. He destroyed that again at the same time as the other intergalactic band of planets. So he has no enemies. Well, season 5 premiere episode, now he has a nemesis. Whoa! You know, no allusions to him earlier, no references, no hint or foreshadowing of this character at all. This idea that Rick would have any sort of nemesis or enemy. And yeah, nothing really happened in the episode. I mean, at the end, there was sort of a, well, I guess we can be pals again. We were at one time. Sort of a little bit of hints at their backstory, their history with each other. But then Rick is caught with his pants down. His nemesis gets all TO'd and it's like, I'll get you for this, Rick. You won't suffer any consequences now. I'm going to leave, but I'll be back. Like, oh, okay, sure. I guess that counts as now Rick kind of has an enemy. But I don't know. I can't take this nemesis concept seriously. I don't know if the show is wanting me to, anyways. But again, I don't know. It's just that with what Rick has already overcome, it doesn't seem like this should be that big of a deal. The guy goes back in the ocean, freeze gun, freezes the ocean. The guy is isolated in an entire giant block of ice. Then he, I don't know, takes a laser cannon, aims right for where he is specifically, and overkill explosion, absolutely dead, completely incinerated, no more problems whatsoever. I mean, that's just a really lazy, simple example of how that nemesis could be hand-wavedly destroyed without any hardships or Rick having to bat an eye. So, I suppose what's likely going to happen is this nemesis, who we've not seen since the first episode at this point, will come back and, oh, I'll get you, Rick. Yeah, whatever, okay. But again, I guess what I'm building up to is this idea that, so at one point there was the family animosity. They didn't get along with each other or their issues and their conflicts. Now that's completely pushed aside. there's not really any strife amongst themselves. They don't always get along. They're a fighting family, but yeah, Rick, take Morty, do whatever. We don't care. Rick, travel across all the dimensions, all the planets you want to. There's no society, no civilization, no no intergalactic society that gives a crap anymore. There was the evil Morty plot line that I thought was pretty interesting. A decent amount of potential there. But as far as I know, that one episode that was a throwaway, kind of a slap to the face of internet theorists was, the train episode basically threw that idea in the trash, as far as I can tell. And yeah, it's just a non-issue anymore. Maybe they'll come back to it if they want to. But as far as I know, again, it's all done already. It's all just wrapped up, thrown away. Who cares? Don't pay any attention to that stuff. I was trying to think. There was another the other family conflict that came up was Beth, Jerry. Yeah, Beth and Jerry. They got divorced, or at least unofficially split up for a while. The family basically hated Jerry. Rick was on a power trip that he had to be the alpha, and a pissing contest about being in control of the whole family. That was the whole thing of the season. And then Jerry, the spineless jellyfish, limps his way back in with Beth freaking out about being a clone. Oh, I'm a clone. I'm not a clone. I'm not real. And they all just kind of come back together. Rick's like, oh, I guess not in charge. Jerry, you win. And that'll just get swept under the rug. Who cares? Because Rick can do whatever he wants to again. When Jerry tried to put his foot down about, hey, Summer, you're not going out to these different planets that are about to be destroyed, because we're talking about this, and I'm the father of the house. And she leaves, and his wife didn't care. It's like, whatever. Just a complete non-issue. I don't know. I guess just when I think about the series, when you actually look at the long-term theoretical consequences, the impact of all these characters' actions, what you notice is that there aren't any repercussions. There aren't long-lasting impacts. There's pretty much no consistency whatsoever. And to me, that's just a giant issue, a giant problem with the show, because, again, all of these characters have gone through a whole hell of a lot. And again, even if you were to completely nerd out on the actual canon for this specific family, because remember, Rick and Morty, the original planet, their original family got borked. And so they went to a different reality, and with all the different episodes that have gone through, it's like, well, is this the original, the recreated originals that they've stuck with for a while? Have they been replaced a couple of times? I don't care. I'm not going into that ball of yarn. I'm not trying to unwind that ball of yarn. Like, who cares about all those semantics? The general point is that they've all gone through a fair share of wacky inventors, antics, tons of gore, devastation, seeing lots of people being ripped asunder wantonly. And they've all basically blunted themselves against it. They're rather apathetic about the whole thing. And that would be fine if, again, there were some ramifications to any of that. But, how to put it? The characters, as you look at them through the show, at different times, they'll be different. There might be some change here and there, but they're not growing. There's no sense of reflection, of like reflecting on what's going on, what their values are, what they care about, what their self-direction, what their goals are, what they want to do. They always basically just sort of react and go with the flow. And again, whatever personality trait exists in that character that needs to come to the forefront in a particular episode or a particular moment will. You know, the characters are just devices thrown out with whatever personality traits need to stand out at the drop of a hat. For instance, I remember in an earlier season when Summer was in the spaceship waiting for Rick and Morty to do their business, take care of things, and you know, he told the spaceship, "Protect Summer." Very general message. And she freaked out when the ship killed a guy. It's like, "Oh, you can't do that, don't kill people!" And kept giving more specific instructions because, "Oh, you can't kill people, you can't do this, you can't psychologically torture people." You just kept walking it back because she didn't want the ship to do that just to protect her. But then again, I already sort of referenced this earlier, but season 5 episode that just came out recently was she went with Rick to 3 planets that were about to be annihilated just to have a wild, crazy party, a wild, out-of-control freak fest. Because the people of those planets, they were doomed. It's like, we can't do anything to stop it. Let's just have a crazy party. You know, do whatever you want to while you still can. So, she went from, "Don't kill those people," to, "Yeah, these planets are, all these people are gonna die. We shouldn't try and save them, Rick. It's just, yeah, party, woo!" And she does technically save the 3rd planet, but it mostly seemed like the only reason she cared was so she could spite Rick a little bit. Maybe throw a bucket of cold water in his face to wake him up to the fact this chick didn't care about him. A little bit of bro code moment there, maybe. So, did she grow as a character? Or you could theoretically argue, did she regress as a character? She's a lot worse of a person. She's become cold and indifferent to death. But not really. She's not changed. Again, she's not grown or regressed. She's just different because that's what was needed for that episode, or that's what was needed for that little plot device. Now, at this point, I would probably say Summer is fairly apathetic, is fine with destruction just for the sake of it. If it's fun, why not do it? But I don't know. It just doesn't seem like something that's really changed with her character through growth or regression. It's just, she's different. And again, maybe that seems really nitpicky, but I don't know. I guess the other example would be Morty, where at times he stood up to Rick like, "Rick, you shouldn't do this," or "Rick, you know, what the hell's wrong with you, Rick?" You know, he's had a stick up his butt about various issues, and then he's been a completely spineless jellyfish, and Rick has steamrolled over him. You know, it's just so inconsistent when Morty's going to decide to grow a spine and speak out against something. Excuse me. And most of the time, he just seems to care about when it's somehow a nuisance or an annoyance, or it's like, "Come on, Rick, whatever, blah, blah, blah." What was the other part about the characters that was kind of annoying? Beth. It was a pretty simple one. And again, it was theoretically a throwaway episode, arguably. But the one where she found out about her childhood, and, you know, this really ties into her daddy issues. But Rick made an imaginary world and all these customized items that she wanted. displaying the fact that she was pretty much a sociopath, completely psychotic. A serial killer in the making, if not fully, completely down that path already. And the episode ends, essentially, with her killing a former childhood friend because he was annoying her, and she was gleeful about it. I'm Rick's daughter! I am his daughter! Ha 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 ha! Kill, kill, kill! And you would think maybe the show would do something with that. That it would start pulling out her darker nature, her more twisted, indifferent attitude that Rick displays pretty much all the time. But no, you know, in the episode where, again, recent season, with all the clone shenanigans, a completely throwaway, pointless episode because nothing was at stake. None of the actual characters were involved. It was just, I don't even know how to describe it. Just a completely worthless exercise. Basically like doing donuts in a parking lot, I felt like. But yeah, I mean, if Beth had been there, how to put it? At the very end of the episode, Beth was like, you know, Rick was like, huh, something happened to the clone family. It's like, Dad, you cloned us? You know, getting that moral outrage. And again, that just seems so at odds with what she could have been or what they could have done with her. That it's like, she has this moral outrage about the ethics of cloning, but she could and has been or has the potential of being a complete serial killer. I don't know. It's just, as I think about the show, it just really gets on my nerves. This idea that nobody has grown, nobody has changed. There's no stakes. There's no focus point. There's nothing. There's no source of conflict for them. Again, a recent episode from season 5 involved them interacting with the president, who Rick had this petty one-on-one little war with him. And I thought it was kind of bizarre where basically Rick forfeited the fight, lost the fight, which I don't think it should have even been an equal matchup in the first place. But again, he basically forfeits, like, oh, Mr. President, you know, I'm fishing Rick, here's my fishing hat. I come from a different reality. I just want to live here in peace. I'll be your little gopher boy. You need my help. You know, so he made peace with the president. And again, theoretically, maybe there could still be some lingering tension between him and the president. But during the episode, it's like, you know, Morty's like, no, he's cool. He didn't do this. And then, yeah, there was no animosity between them. They got along just fine. So again, no source of conflict, no source of someone trying to rein Rick in, stop him. Nope. No conflict. No hardships. So, I mean, again, it's like, at this point, where's the focus? Where are they going with the show? Is it just completely throwing darts randomly, seeing if they even hit the dartboard sometimes? They're like, just throw it out there, just throw it out, see what happens. It just seems so helter-skelter. And for me, it's like, you guys aren't even hitting the dartboard anymore. You're just so out there with whatever comes out of your head. Let's just make an episode about it and throw caution to the wind, because who cares if anything meaningful happens, if there's any ramifications or consequences, if characters think anything about what's happening or have a reaction, because, well, now they're all so completely apathetic and indifferent to everything, and, you know, they're fine with it. Trying to think if there's anything else. Sorry, I'm just going to recap through my own mind real quick. I think I really did summarize the main theoretical sources of conflict, hardships from the earlier seasons that gave the show a little bit of a focus point. That gave the show something for Rick and Morty to kind of bump up against. For there to be some kind of long-term issues about. And a lot of it really was just Morty's reactions to how Rick was treating him and all this bogus nonsense and, you know, standing up for himself intermittently. But at this point, there's, again, the occasional flare-up, the occasional fight left in the dog, but, you know, Rick doesn't really throw that much of a fit over it if Morty stands up, and it's just so apathetic, it feels like. And honestly, this is my last analogy about how it feels like watching a new episode of Rick and Morty anymore. It's like having a rubber band on your wrist, and you pull the rubber band back, and it's like, I wonder what's going to happen. You let go. Snap. Ow, that kind of hurt. Oh yeah, the rubber band's back on my wrist. Like, you pull it again, it's like, I wonder what's going to happen this time. Let me pull it a little further, maybe. Or let me try something a little different. Okay, now I'll let it go. Ow! Yeah, it's still snapped my wrist, but, yeah, it's back to being a rubber band on my wrist again. I mean, that's how I feel watching any current episodes of Rick and Morty, any new episodes is. No matter how far they pull it, no matter what is going on in the episode, everything is going to revert back to square one. There's no ongoing conflict, either between Rick and his family and an outside source, or between Rick and his family. There's no direction that any of the characters are trying to go. None of them have any goals or aspirations. Rick, the character with the most power, has the least direction. There's no big scheme. At least, again, none that the show's ever shown. They could always do an ass pull like they did with Rick's nemesis. Whoa, just completely out of nowhere, but that'd feel really forced and phony. Just like it did with the nemesis. Beth, you know, she's with Jerry, I guess. You know, the show has talked numerous times about how the relationship shouldn't work, but at this point it just does. She has already basically resigned herself to the fact that even though Rick's a terrible person, she has so many daddy issues, she wants him around. And I have to admit, Jerry is a sack of crap, as the show has demonstrated multiple times. A spineless jellyfish, goes with the wind coward. And he deserves to be called out for his crap. But it's like, why don't people really give Beth her due criticisms? Because she is such a pathetic character, so desperate for Rick to be in her life, no matter what, that she is, I think she's far worse than Jerry, to be honest. It's like, you're that desperate to have a father figure in your life, no matter what. Yes, doesn't really fly with me, you know. But, anyways, so because their relationship shouldn't work, but it does, and they're kind of forced back together, and that's happened multiple times. But even now, again, they have no real conflict in their relationship anymore. That can's been kicked so many times, even the writers said, forget doing that anymore. We're tired of kicking that can. Leave it alone for once, alright? So now, no conflict, no goals, no aspirations. I guess Jerry's looking for a job again, but, ooh. Summer, she used to care about popularity. Now she maybe just wants to have some chaotic fun now and again. Again, no goals, no aspirations. Morty's 14-year-old kid in school. He still pines after that one chick, but basically, as long as he can get some female love interest to pay attention to him and be with him, he'd be perfectly fine. If he had a girlfriend, that'd be his aspiration fulfilled. And yeah. I mean, I guess that's realistic for a 14-year-old, but it's kind of sad to say that that's honestly, out of all the main characters, that is the one specific goal I can really state that any of them have. Morty wants a girlfriend, / to get laid regularly. So, he has a goal! But again, you watch an episode new episode of Rick and Morty. You pull the rubber band. Like, oh, maybe they're really gonna push it this time. They're really gonna throw in a creative reference. Something the fans have wanted to see them tackle. Some sort of science fiction trope or show or series. Oh man, we're really pulling it this time, guys. We're really going over the top. Wait, what happened at the end of the episode? What was the long-term ramifications? Oh yeah, everybody reverted back to square one, didn't they? That's great. And again, to beat this dead horse even further. Hey Morty, get in here, Morty! Ah, jeez, Rick, what is it, Rick? Hey Morty, you remember Captain Planet and the Planeteers? Remember that, Morty? Captain Planet? Ah, jeez, Rick, wasn't that lame show that nobody liked? Yeah, Morty, we're gonna do a rendition of Captain Planet and the Planeteers, alright? Come on, Rick, nobody wants to see that crap. No, Morty, we're gonna do it, alright? We're gonna do Captain Planet. And that makes you feel better about it, Morty. We'll make her a chick. She'll be really hot, and she'll dig you. She'll really be into you, Morty. Oh, really, Rick? She's gonna be into me, and she's gonna be hot? Yeah, Morty, and she'll be an older woman, too, so, you know, I hope that gets your pants I hope you get all tight in the pants over that. Yeah, Rick, that doesn't sound so bad, you know, and, there's also the power rings, right? Will I be able to burn people or stuff like that? Really, Morty? Here I am using my science and technology to hook you up all the time, and you're gonna piss your pants, and you're gonna blow your load for a power ring that can shoot fireballs? Well, I mean, that's pretty cool, Rick. Whatever, Morty, just hurry up. Let's get this done, alright? Yeah, I don't even care anymore, but alright, we'll pull the rubber band really far out, Morty. We're really gonna do it big this time. And again, they let go of the rubber band. There's all the spectacle the show presents. You know, the action segments, the fight scenes, the death and carnage, and the spectacle, and the lights, and the laser beams. But the rubber band's going crazy. It's doing things you would never expect an animated show to do. You know, just crazy spectacle nonsense. Hey, Rick, what happened? You let go of the rubber band. Is that it? Yeah, Morty, it's a rubber band. You know, I'm a scientist. But that's how rubber, you know, I can make the rubber band do crazy things, but at the end of the day, it's still rubber band, Morty, alright? I can see you do anything better with a rubber band, huh? If you're not lucky, you'd probably break it, you stupid little monkey boy. Like, and I know, I've beaten this horse dead, I've really over-explained that, but for me, Rick and Morty is just not worth watching anymore. As it is right now, because there's no overarching plot point. And honestly, the worst part about me thinking about this a little bit more seriously and realizing how directionless the show has become is that it's made me think, because, you know, I slammed my foot in the brakes. It's like, what the hell's going on? Why don't I like the show anymore? And I started to think back on the earlier seasons and episodes, contrasting, like, the Captain Planet episode to any of the other episodes, and I was like, wait, was Rick and Morty ever really that unique or original in the first place? And I can't say it never did anything original or unique or give a special spin on things, but I started to realize, yeah, they've just taken other licenses, other shows, other movies, and run with that idea more than I would really want to admit. And it's like, oh, yeah, that's been borrowed material. They've borrowed material for their episodes quite a few times, haven't they? You know, maybe it never was that great to begin with. I think that's a little overly harsh, a little overly critical, but again, thinking about the show more did make me think, maybe it didn't quite deserve so much applause as it first got. But anyways, I'm sure there'll be tons of people who disagree with me because I'm saying something negative about Rick and Morty. I'm not endlessly applauding it. I'm not complaining about season 4 that is universally kind of panned. I am talking about new, exciting Rick and Morty, and maybe they'll do stuff, and, you know, really cool ideas, and can't wait to see the next episode. And here I am already poo-pooing. It's like, I know the season's not even done yet, but F it, I don't care. I mean, you know, watching each new episode only takes 25 minutes, so I probably will check them out as they are released, but I'm really not holding my breath for the idea that it's like, oh man, new Rick and Morty, I'm gonna have my mind blown, whoa! It's, oh, new Rick and Morty, wonder how they're gonna disappoint me this time. Hey, I didn't expect that. I expected a disappointment, but you did it in a way I didn't see coming. Good for you. Have you seen my channel lately? I'm very good at disappointing people all the time. I don't know what to say anymore, so I'm just roasting myself. I kind of do that at the end of my whatever I make, because at a certain point I kind of start rambling and losing my train of focus, and it's like, wow, you don't script your things out, do you? No, I think them out. I have bullet points for what I want to talk about, but I don't script it. I don't know, I feel like that'd be very artificial. But then again, maybe it'd be better. I don't know. Don't know. Don't care. I just talk about things and upload content sporadically. Oh, what the hell am I doing? Just shut up! Thank you. I needed that moment of clarity. Anyways, that's all I've got to say about Rick and Morty. Probably won't ever make another video about it because I'm not deep diving through all their episodes. It's been overdone, over talked about, but it's like, you know, this was something that came to mind just kind of out of nowhere, and it's like, I swear to you, this is my own thoughts, my own ideas. I don't like being like a copycat or rip-off person, so I hope I haven't inadvertently stepped on somebody else's toes and I was like, hey, I talked about that stuff and you're a hack. And it's like, oh, sorry, I didn't watch your content first. I'm talking when I should just shut up. So I'll do that now. Sorry. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you around later, folks. And as always, for Ann Doggy. I can't believe I almost forgot to mention this. The one thing about Rick and Morty as a whole that I think is the most untenable, unfathomable, eye-rolly, like, okay, whatever, guys, you really expect us to buy that aspect of the show? And it has to do with, of course, Rick himself. Rick Sanchez. Like, okay, you're telling me the smartest man in the entire universe is Mexican? Alright, whatever you guys say. I mean, I guess that's why this is sci-fi after all. So, you know, I guess you can get away with it. Whatever you guys say.